connections to our people, to our places, to our pasts, to our present, and to our future. When it happens, at the exact moment when those connections occur, sparks that ignite the connections of others.
ArtPrize.
ArtPrize.
ArtPrize has taken over Grand Rapids.
A 19-day international art competition / social experiment designed to instill in the general public a soaring sense of creative possibility.
I came not knowing what I was going to see, just like you. I've been blown away. There's 400,000 people, and there's lines in front of every museum.
Just walking around these last several days with the ArtPrize staff, the artwork has been terrific. Of course, I was expecting that, but I wasn't expecting the kind of audience participation that I'm witnessing.
The first thing we see here is a kind of extraordinary use of public space and the making of private space into public space. And so it's a kind of exhilarating moment when, you know, there really is a kind of great vitality to the downtown area. Quite remarkable in terms of American cities today, something that certainly for me is quite striking.
One of my favorite sort of ArtPrize moments in that first year was just going into restaurants around the city and literally hearing every conversation at every dinner table about art. What have you seen? What do you need to see? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? I think that's terrible. I think that's brilliant. All that back and forth.
The best part about it is that it's a people's art competition, and the public gets to play a role in art in a way that they usually don't. Usually they're encountering it in a museum somewhere it's already been curated, but here everyone can apply, put their work up if it gets accepted, and then just get the general population to weigh in, and everyone gets to be an art critic, and I think that's beautiful.
Like any democratic endeavor, ArtPrize was as unpredictable as wildfire. Some sparks were from collaborative community building, unprecedented commitment to artistic vision. They came from the desire to draw attention to spaces, voices, and cultures, uniting against injustice, speaking unspoken truth, airing our dirty laundry, and reckoning with the reflections we witnessed of ourselves. ArtPrize offered an open opportunity to connect. It was about giving small flames safe harbor in venues across the city. And then you all showed up as artists, venues, voters, volunteers, visitors, friends. Each new connection sparking dozens more.
To me, the real magic of ArtPrize is how it organizes itself. The only reason that ArtPrize is able to happen is because there are people with property that want to be a part of it. There are artists that want to be a part of it, and they come to their own arrangements. What I think is interesting are the groups that independently organize, transform a space. These sort of places that are breathing new life into old structures, creating just these immersive experiences. And that's really the stuff that we want to see more of in ArtPrize.
For an undertaking like ArtPrize, the fact that all the venues are really involved in their own presentations and they don't have to have curators, they don't have to have art historians, they can actually make that decision. And I think that is one of the reasons that it feels so embraced by the community.
My name is School the Artist. My entry was the Trauma Project. And the Trauma Project was a full immersive experience that created a safe space that held 16 paintings. Each painting had its own track, and therefore you were experiencing not only a collection of art, but an album. The project itself connected with a lot of people from different walks of life coming through there. I was able to have great conversations. That's what ArtPrize is about. It's about connecting people, you know? And this is a great opportunity for people that don't really have a voice, can have a voice here. The Trauma Project is a project that was made in Grand Rapids, for Grand Rapids.
The energy on the street was palpable. You could feel the community being built. You could see it right before your eyes. You'd walk down Monroe Center and folks were talking to each other. And it was all about the art, and it was all about the artists. But we were talking to each other.
In 2018, it had been the 9th year of ArtPrize, and I think we were starting to see somewhat of a dip in voting numbers and participation from some of those larger scale, more well-established artists. A few of our different directors had the idea of trying something new, trying a whole new format, calling it Project One, bringing in 5 different artists and putting them at 5 different places throughout the city. And so it was just to kind of really elevate and showcase some of these huge, large-scale art pieces from artists throughout the world.
I always joke there's 2 types of people that produce festivals. Those that want to lose a lot of money and those that don't do it. Project One was a cool concept. And taking that year off to do a curated art exhibit and thinking about ArtPrize as this one year we have the public thing, the next year we have this curated thing.
It was successful to a lot of different sectors of, art critics, art enthusiasts. And I think the general public still wanted to have that public vote.
After 10 years of ArtPrize and the inaugural Project One, in 2020, we all went away for a bit.
Big news dropped into our inbox. ArtPrize won't happen this year because of the coronavirus. And the director's now saying future ArtPrize could also be on the line.
I was heading to the airport and I remember getting a call saying, I think they're canceling it. There's this virus going around. It was a pretty somber time.
It takes years and years to build events. If you lose momentum for 1 year, it is so hard to get it back.
Not having ArtPrize that year, I think, was a big, sad moment in our city. Coming out of that year, realizing, okay, we can, wear masks, we can start being outside, we can attend events again, realizing ArtPrize needed to come back.
The other part is I only had 6 months from March to September that first year to try to pull something off, and there was nothing, playbook, nothing. Everything had to be built kind of from scratch and rebooted up.
City of Grand Rapids, Downtown Grand Rapids Inc. and Kendall College of Art and Design really stepped up, formed a new public-private partnership between the 3. They saw ArtPrize as this really vibrant and valuable economic driver, but also what ArtPrize is, ultimately, is this iconic and very unique event.
I said, I seen a child sound like inspired, a voice that made them open, effort in painting or writing or being so full of life, art in the eyes of us all, old and small, what's age to a poetry page, and colors being just as bright as a Michigan lake when art takes place in the streets. And we cheer, and if you listen close, you can hear hope for an artist wishing and gaining their work to be seen. And that scene is called ArtPrize.
Fire and reflections are only temporary. And even when they are here, they're constantly changing. And ArtPrize too is changing. But that's been true since the very first event in 2009. And it's going to be true again. Year after year after year.
The energy of ArtPrize is amazing. To have so many people in one area come enjoy and experience art. Taking it back to a personal level of how artwork design or something came from an idea to ideation to its physical form is important.
There are big venues that attract a lot of attention, and then you got the small venues that are fighting to get attention. And through that fight, if you go look, man, it's a lot of creativity going on.
ArtPrize has room for all kinds of art, from high art that would be considered fine art that you would see in contemporary museums, and also work that's more decorative that you might see more at like an art fair on a Saturday in your local community. The fact that all of that can coexist in one space exposes people to a lot of different kinds of making. The more I've done ArtPrize, the more free I feel to do whatever I want.
ArtPrize started as just a huge experiment. The morphing and the excitement of not really knowing what's going to happen year to year keeps us all on our toes and keeps us excited about what we're gonna see. Now in our society, it's so important to do these things that get us off of our screens, that get us out of our homes, to focus on a shared experience and talk about things with one another, have these conversations around somebody's perspective of their life, their world in an art piece. And yeah, it unifies us.
I view ArtPrize as a platform, a system of creating a very rare and unusual decentralized event. Success can be as simple as just one. You know, it can be as simple as just one kid that comes to ArtPrize and realizes that being an artist can actually be a viable and successful vocation. You know, it just takes one artist to be validated in their work by their experience here at ArtPrize. Where its success has lied in the past is this very unique intersection of exhibition, experience, and education. So, where's ArtPrize going? I think the pitch nights are a great way for us to create this organic ambassadorship in other regions around the country. The featured exhibits are a pretty awesome way for us to bring in other artwork outside of the competition and create additional narrative around what we're doing. The community sees the value of art, not just in an objective sense, but in this very real subjective sense of what art's supposed to be. That made my community better. Not richer, but it made my community better. That's success in my book.
Grand Rapids wants to take the stage. We want to show the world what community looks like. We want to host artists from around the world and bring important work and have important conversations to show that beauty, grace, curiosity, patience, and empathy don't just matter, but they are in fact the values of a community brave enough to ArtPrize.